Hey, amazing fans! Welcome to another relaxing moment with VIVA'S stories. Before we dive into the drama, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world to us. Now, grab a seat, sit back, relax, and let's journey into the story together. The rain poured like the sky itself was grieving. On the cracked streets of Alagba city, neon lights flickered, casting distorted colors over puddles filled with dirt and broken dreams. It was the kind of night where good things rarely happened. And for Lara Okoye, good things were already a distant memory. She tightened the frayed scarf around her head, shielding herself from the cold wind as she stood outside Club Genesis, a place whispered about in fear, disgust, and sometimes envy. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Mom calling. Her heart clenched. Hello? Mama? Static. Then her mother's weak voice filtered through. Lara, near the hospital, they need more money for the surgery. The doctor said. I know, Mama. I'm sorting it. I swear. Just hold on. The line disconnected. Lara stared at the cracked screen, her reflection a mix of determination and despair. She could feel the weight of two lives pressing on her shoulders, her sick mother's life and her own. First night? A rough voice said behind her. She spun around. It was Mimi, one of the girls from the club. Heavy makeup. Tired eyes. Smirk like a blade. They all come here thinking it's just serving drinks. Baby, you're gonna dance. Don't let them lie to you. I don't dance, Lara muttered. You do now. The door to Club Genesis swung open. Music thumped like a heartbeat on steroids. The smell of sweat, alcohol, and broken promises hit her like a slap. The manager appeared, a man known only as Big Tony. His gold teeth glimmered when he smiled. His suit was too tight, his stomach pushing against the buttons like his greed against decency. You the new one? His eyes scanned her like she was a chicken at market. I'm here to work, Lara said, steadying her trembling voice. You said bar service. Big Tony laughed, a cruel, slow sound. Plans changed. Tonight's special guest night. They like fresh faces. I didn't agree to that. He grabbed her chin, tilting her face upward. Det don't argue, girl. Det dances. Her breath caught. Det don't argue. Det dances. The words lodged themselves into her bones. Behind him, the dancers on stage spun like dolls in glass cases, bright smiles, dead eyes. I'll pay it back, Lara whispered. I'll find another way. You don't have another way. And he was right. Her mother's last surgery had drained them. Every relative she turned to either turned their backs or offered pity that came with cold silence. The world had taught her one truth: you're on your own. Another shove. She stumbled forward, past Mimi, who gave her a look that was almost sympathy. Almost. Then she saw him. Seated at the farthest corner booth, shrouded in shadows despite the flashing neon, was a man who didn't belong in this world. He was wearing a simple black tailored suit, crisp white shirt unbuttoned at the top. No flashy jewelry. No wild entourage. Just him. Still watching. But what chilled Lara wasn't his appearance, it was the way he wasn't watching the girls on stage. He was watching her. The music dropped. The bass deepened. A slow, sultry beat. Big Tony clapped his hands. Get up there. Lara froze. I said dance. A shove to her shoulder. Every muscle screamed to run. But then, they need more money for the surgery. She took one step. Then another. Up the 3 stairs leading to the stage that might as well have been gallows. The club's lights swirled like drunken comets. The first beat hit. The room spun. And Lara moved. Not like a dancer who knew what she was doing. More like a marionette on tangled strings. Awkward. Uncertain. Laughter from the tables. Someone threw a wad of crumpled notes at her feet. Cheer up, girl. You're ruining the show, someone shouted. Heat rose up her neck. Embarrassment. Shame. Humiliation thick as the cigarette smoke swirling around her. But then her eyes met his. The stranger in the corner. Unlike the others, his face didn't twist in laughter or lust. It was something else. Recognition? Or was that pity? Suddenly, she hated pity more than she hated the laughter. So she danced harder. Awkward at first. But then, anger found her movements. She let it take her body, hips swaying not for seduction, but rebellion. Chest high. Chin sharp like a blade. If this was going to break her, she'd make sure she broke something on her way down. That's when Big Tony appeared at the foot of the stage, gesturing wildly at someone. Two men in black suits flanked the stranger. He raised one hand. And the music stopped. Silence crashed over the room like thunder after lightning. The stranger rose to his feet, buttoning his jacket. "Bring her to me," he said softly. The entire club froze. Lara's heart hammered as Big Tony's expression changed from amusement to annoyance. "This isn't your place. This is my house." The stranger tilted his head slightly, cool as winter fog. "Now it's mine." Big Tony laughed, sharp and fake. "Who the hell do you think you are?" The stranger smiled for the first time. "Alec Vance." Silence. The name dropped like a nuclear bomb. People whispered, some choking on their drinks. Alec Vance, the billionaire tech genius. The ghost investor behind half the city's luxury constructions. Rumors swirled about him. Genius, recluse, dangerous. And he was here. For her. "Bring the girl," Alec said again. But this time, it wasn't a request. It was law. Big Tony's face shifted. Fear? Anger? Well, you think you can just? The two men beside Alec moved in one smooth motion. Guns. Silencers. Hidden but unmistakable. One pointed straight at Big Tony's gut. Lara stood frozen in the middle of the stage, caught between terror and disbelief. This couldn't be real. Rich billionaires didn't crash sleazy nightclubs. They didn't rescue girls like her. This was a dream. Or a nightmare. Maybe both. The crowd began clearing. Chairs scraping. Money forgotten on the tables. Then she heard the voice again. So, commanding. Inevitable. Lara. She didn't remember telling him her name. But she obeyed. One step down from the stage. Then another. Like a storm cloud breaking open, the panic inside her burst. "Why me?" she shouted, voice cracking under the weight of the moment. "Why are you here?" "Why?" "Because," Alec Vance said, stepping forward into the light for the first time, revealing cold gray eyes and a scar along his jaw that whispered of darker stories. "I owe you." Lara sat in the back of the sleek black Maybach, the soft hum of the engine the only sound as the city blurred past the tinted windows. She hadn't said a word. Not since Alec Vance pulled her from that stage, through stunned silence and parting crowds. Like now, she was in a different world. Moses parting the Red Sea. The air inside the car smelled faintly of leather and expensive cologne. Her legs, still trembling, brushed against the cool seat. Every breath she took felt too loud. Across from her sat Alec Vance. Stoic. Composed. Impossibly calm. He scrolled through his phone like he hadn't just disrupted an entire club. Like he hadn't stared down a crime boss and walked out unscathed. Finally, Lara couldn't take the silence. "Why did you do that?" Her voice cracked. "Why did you buy me?" Alec looked up slowly. His eyes met hers, piercing, unreadable. "I didn't buy you," he said. "I pulled you out." "Same thing," she snapped. "You ordered them to bring me. Like I was some object. Property. You looked like you needed rescuing." She scoffed. "Don't we all?" The pause. "You didn't belong there," he said. She shook her head. "You don't know anything about me." "I know enough. I know your name is Lara Okoye. I know your mother's in a hospital in Surulere, stage 3 renal failure. I know the hospital is asking for 2.3 million Nigerian nairas up front before they can start full dialysis. And I know you haven't paid your tuition in over a year at LASU." Her blood ran cold. "How? How do you know that?" "I have people. I saw you at the club 3 days ago. I told my assistant to look into your background. I wasn't sure if I'd return, but tonight confirmed it." Lara's jaw tightened. "So you were watching me?" "I observe. I don't watch." "Same damn thing." He smirked. "You're very combative for someone who was just saved." "I didn't ask to be saved." Another pause. He set his phone down and leaned forward slightly, his expression suddenly serious. "You're right," he said. "You didn't ask. And I won't force you to stay. As soon as we get to the penthouse, you'll have a choice. You can leave. Or you can stay and hear me out." She blinked. "Penthouse?" He nodded. "Victoria Island. You'll be safe there. One night. That's all I ask." Lara looked away, watching the city shift from concrete slums to glittering skyscrapers. Her entire world was being rewritten by a stranger in a suit. Minutes later, the car pulled into an underground parking garage beneath an enormous glass tower. Guards in earpieces stepped aside with precision. The elevator ride was silent except for the soft ding as the floors ticked upward. When the doors opened, Lara found herself stepping into a living room that didn't look real. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed off a sweeping view of the ocean. Everything shimmered, glass, marble, silver. "This is insane," she whispered. "Welcome to temporary safety," Alec said. He gestured to a hallway. "There's a guest suite. Fresh clothes. Shower. Food is being sent up." She stood still, unsure if she could move. Her legs still felt like stage props. "I don't understand any of this." Alec walked over to the bar and poured himself water from a crystal decanter. Then he turned. "Then let me help you understand." She folded her arms. "I've been searching for someone," he said. "For almost 3 years." "Who?" "My sister." Lara blinked. You have a sister?" "She disappeared. No trace. Some say she ran away. Others think worse." "I'm sorry," Lara said softly. "She was last seen near Elagba, near that same club, Club Genesis." Lara froze. She was trying to investigate a trafficking ring. Young girls, forced to dance, then disappear. Lara's chest tightened. The club, the cold stares, the masked VIPs. I think she was getting close to something dangerous. And I think the people who run that place know what happened to her. He walked over and placed a small photo in her hand. A girl. Same cold eyes as Alec. Long hair. Laughing. Carefree. Lara recognized the backdrop in the image. "I've seen her," she whispered. "Not in person. A poster in the back corridor. Someone scribbled 'dead girl' over it." Alec's expression didn't change, but his knuckles turned white as he clenched his glass. "I need help. I need someone who can get close. But not as an outsider. Someone who blends in." Lara stared at him. "You want me to go back?" "Not immediately. Only if you choose to. But I can pay you. Help your mother. Secure her treatment. Pay your tuition. Get your life back." She shook her head slowly. "You want me to be bait. I want you to be a survivor who helps others survive." She swallowed hard. Her mind was spinning. "I don't trust you. I don't expect you to. And what happens if I say no? Then I'll take you home. No tricks. No threats. And I'll still pay your hospital bill." Lara stared at him. This man was unreadable. Powerful. Dangerous. But not cruel. "You think I can help you find your sister?" she asked. "I think you're the only one who still has a soul in that hellhole." A silence stretched between them. Long, heavy. Meaningful. Then Alec did something unexpected. He opened the door to the penthouse and stepped aside. "Go if you want. Right now." Lara didn't move. A breeze from the hallway whispered across her skin. Then she looked at the photo again. That girl. That laugh. And then she remembered the dead look in Mimi's eyes. Her own reflection in the club mirror. And her mother. Lying in that hospital bed. "You'll really help my mother?" she asked. "Just no strings." She exhaled. Then closed the door slowly. "I'll stay one night. But I'm not saying yes yet." Alec nodded. "That's all I ask." Hours later. The suite was almost too perfect. Lara stood wrapped in a bathrobe, her hair wet, the scent of lavender soap still clinging to her skin. She sat by the massive window, staring down at the glittering city, wondering how her life had flipped so violently in one night. She heard a soft knock. "Yeah," she said. Alec's voice came through the door. "Just wanted to say good night. And thank you." She didn't reply. Then, "Alec." Yes. If I do this, if I help you, what happens after? There was a pause. I don't know, he said honestly. But I promise you won't disappear. Not like she did. She swallowed. Good night, she said. Good night, Lara. The door clicked shut. And for the first time in weeks, Lara allowed herself to cry. Not because she was weak, but because she finally had a choice. The morning sun crept through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the pristine marble floors of Alec's penthouse with golden light. Lara stood in the middle of that world, feeling like a stain on perfection. She hadn't slept. How could she? Everything about last night was unreal. One moment she was dancing for criminals, the next she was staring out over Lagos from the penthouse of one of the richest men in Africa. And now, she had a decision to make. The smell of freshly brewed coffee drifted from the kitchen. Alec stood at the counter, pouring himself a cup like this was just any ordinary day. It wasn't. You're up early, he said without looking. Did you sleep at all? She replied. I don't really sleep much. He finally turned, offering her the faintest smile. It was strange, that smile, like a crack in solid stone. Do you want some? He asked, gesturing to the coffee. Lara shook her head. No. I don't want coffee. I want answers. Alec nodded, set the cup down, and leaned against the counter. Fair. Lara crossed her arms tightly, pressing them against her chest like armor. Why me? Why not someone else? Someone smarter, tougher, more experienced? Why choose some broke student whose only connection to that club is a mistake of desperation? Alec's eyes narrowed slightly. You know why? I don't. You fought back, he said softly. You didn't just give up on that stage. You didn't curl up and let them break you. That's rare in a place like that. She blinked. His words stirred something in her, something uncomfortable and sharp. I wasn't brave, she muttered. I was angry. Same difference. The room hung with silence. Finally, Alec pushed off the counter and walked toward her, close enough that she could see the faint scar under his right eye. I've worked with mercenaries, hackers, private detectives. People who are professionals in this kind of mess. And none of them got me closer to the truth. So you want a what? Me to be your inside woman? I want you to be my key. To what? To breaking the entire ring that took my sister, he said simply. His calmness made it worse. How could anyone be so collected about something like this? Lara dropped her gaze, feeling the weight of it all pressing on her like bricks piling on her chest. Do you know what they do to girls like me in places like that? She whispered. Yes, Alec said. Do you? Her voice cracked now. They don't just make you dance. Sometimes, they don't let you leave. I'm not sending you back in alone, Alec said quietly. That's why I wanted to talk to you. There's more to this. What? I've been gathering intel, he said, stepping aside and pulling up something on his sleek tablet. Club Genesis is just a front. The real owners operate a chain of illegal trafficking routes, girls taken from rural areas, trafficked through port cities, sold to clients all over Africa, even some parts of Europe. He flipped through images, grainy photos, surveillance shots of men in expensive clothes exchanging briefcases. Lara swallowed hard, bow rising in her throat. Why don't you just go to the police? I did, Alec replied, bitterness creeping into his tone. Some of them are in on it. They leak everything. She felt sick. This isn't just about my sister anymore, Alec continued. It's bigger. Much bigger. Lara backed up until she bumped against the cool glass of the window. So what do you want from me exactly? She asked hoarsely. I need someone who can blend in, he said. Who won't set off alarms. Someone new to the scene. You can help me map their inner circle. Names, faces, routines. We'll take them down piece by piece. Lara shook her head. This is insane. Probably. And dangerous. Definitely. And you really think I can survive this? Alec smiled faintly again. I think you've already survived worse. The words hit her somewhere deep. Somewhere she didn't want to acknowledge. How much are you offering? She asked finally. He tilted his head. You want money? Not for me. For my mother. I want the best doctor in Lagos on her case. Done. Full payment upfront. Half now, half when we get our first target. She hesitated. And I want enough to finish school, she added. No strings attached. Also done. Why are you so quick to say yes to everything? Because I know you're worth more than you believe. The statement struck something inside her, not warmth exactly, but recognition. For a long time, nobody had seen her as anything but desperate. Now someone was offering to see her as dangerous. I'll think about it, she whispered. Alec nodded. You have until tonight. After that, I go alone. They both knew what that meant. He wouldn't survive alone. Neither would she. Nightfall. By the time the sun disappeared beyond the Lagos skyline, Lara's decision felt like gravity pulling her into place. They sat opposite each other on the penthouse balcony, the city glittering below. I'm in, she said finally. Alec didn't smile this time. He just nodded, like a general acknowledging a soldier's salute. Then we start tomorrow. Tomorrow? Early. Training. Training. Spycraft, Alec said. If you're going to go back in, you're going back in smarter. The weight of it all settled on her shoulders like a cloak she could never take off again. But for the first time, the weight didn't feel hopeless. It felt powerful, dangerous, and just maybe... Later that night, as Lara lay in the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, she realized the truth of it all. This wasn't just about money anymore. It wasn't even just about her mother. It was about them, the girls who didn't get out. The ones who never made it to penthouses or hospitals or universities. It was about fighting back. And if she was going to burn, she'd make damn sure she took the whole system with her. The next morning came early. Too early for Lara's liking. She barely slept, her mind a carousel of what-ifs and silent screams. But when the soft knock came on her door at 6 a.m., she was already sitting at the edge of the bed, dressed and ready. Alec stood in the doorway, dressed in simple black workout clothes. His usual tailored suits were gone, replaced by something utilitarian, efficient, dangerous. Time to turn you into something they won't see coming, he said. The training begins. The elevator took them down to a hidden level beneath the penthouse, something Lara hadn't even known existed. As the doors slid open, she blinked in shock. It was a private gym. No, more than a gym. It was a training facility. A boxing ring. Weighted dummies. Combatants. Gun ranges behind glass partitions. It smelled of leather, sweat, and silent war. What is this place? Lara whispered. My late father's idea of a hobby, Alec replied flatly. I modified it. He stepped onto the mat and tossed her a pair of fingerless gloves. We'll start with self-defense. Lara caught them clumsily. I've never punched anyone in my life. You're going to learn. Fast. He moved like liquid steel, flowing from stance to stance with precision that spoke of years of training. Alec wasn't just rich. He was dangerous. First rule, he said. Never underestimate how much pain the human body can take, and how much damage it can give back. He showed her how to plant her feet, how to twist her hips, how to turn her fists into hammers instead of flailing noodles. Again, he barked. And she did. And again, and again, until her knuckles burned and her arms trembled. But something in her ignited. It wasn't just anger. It was power. Who were you before this? As they paused for water, Lara sat on the mat, wiping sweat from her face with the hem of her t-shirt. Alec sat beside her, handing her a cold bottle of water. You move like someone who's been hit before, he said quietly. She didn't reply. Then, softly, foster homes. Uncles. You learn quickly when they don't take no for an answer. Alec's jaw clenched slightly. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's why I'm still alive. They sat in silence, the hum of the building's electricity filling the void. You? She finally asked. Who were you before all this? Alec stared straight ahead. A spoiled rich kid. More money than sense. Until she disappeared. Your sister. Yeah. Was she like you? A ghost of a smile. No. She was better. Smarter. Braver. She didn't hide behind lawyers or security. She went looking for truth, and it got her taken. Lara looked at him for a long moment. "We're going to find her," she said firmly. And for the first time, Alec's expression cracked, not with grief, but with something close to hope. The first test. By the end of the second hour, Lara's muscles felt like overcooked noodles. But Alec wasn't done. Time for something harder. He led her to a dimly lit room filled with mannequins dressed like club patrons, complete with suits, masks, and low club lighting. Music thumped softly from hidden speakers, mimicking the beat of Club Genesis. "This is your test," Alec said. "Blend in. Find the exit routes. Memorize faces. And avoid detection." "How?" "By thinking like them. Move like someone who belongs. Show fear and you're already dead." It was absurd. She felt like a child playing spy games. But when she stepped into that low light, a strange transformation began. She knew this world. She hated it, but she knew it. Slow steps. Shoulder rolls. Chin tilted just enough to appear confident, not defiant. Blend in. Don't be prey. Don't attract wolves. Lara made it halfway across the room before Alec's voice cut through the dark like a whip. "Freeze." She obeyed, breathing hard. "You hesitated at the door. Why?" She swallowed. "Because I was scared." "Good," he said. "Don't bury that. Use it. Make it part of your disguise. No one expects fear to be strength." She exhaled, feeling sweat drip down her spine. This was insane. And yet, something inside her was changing. Meal break. A welcome distraction. After 3 brutal hours, they finally broke for food. The penthouse chef, yes, of course Alec had a personal chef, served them grilled chicken, avocado, and some quinoa dish Lara didn't recognize but devoured like a starving animal. "You eat like someone who's gone hungry before," Alec observed. "Who hasn't?" she replied with a smirk. The mood was lighter now, easier. Almost human. "So," she asked between bites, "is this your life? Training broken girls to fight crime?" Alec chuckled softly. "No. Usually I'm boring rich. Meetings. Stocks. Boardrooms. And now I'm dangerous rich." Lara laughed despite herself. The sound felt foreign and rusty, like pulling laughter out of an old attic trunk. A new name, a new life. Later that afternoon, Alec handed her a slim folder. Inside, IDs. Credit cards. Passport photos. "What's this?" she asked. "Your new identity." She pulled out an ID. "Vanessa Okoro? Your new name inside the club," Alec explained. "You'll audition as a new dancer. They're always recruiting fresh faces." "And what about my real life? School? Hospital?" Alec's voice was firm. "Already taken care of. Half the tuition paid. And your mother is scheduled for dialysis next week." Her breath caught. "You're serious?" "I don't joke about lives." She wanted to cry but didn't. Instead, she straightened her shoulders and whispered, "Thank you." He met her gaze. "Don't thank me yet." Nightfall strategy session. That evening, they sat in the living room with laptops open and blueprints spread across the glass coffee table. Alec pointed to diagrams of Club Genesis. 3 main exits. 2 security cameras here and here. The private rooms in the back? That's where they disappear. And the masked VIPs? Connected to everything rotten in Lagos, Alec growled. Politicians. Businessmen. Military. Lara felt the danger crystallizing in the air. "We're not just poking the hornet's nest," she said. "We're drop-kicking it." "Exactly. And what happens when they fight back?" Alec smiled grimly. "We hit harder." The final drill. As midnight approached, Alec brought her back to the training room for one last exercise. He handed her a slim, black switchblade. "What the hell is this?" "Insurance. I'm not killing anyone." "I'm not asking you to," Alec said. "But I am asking you to be ready." Lara stared at the blade. It was cold. Heavy. She hated it. She also understood it. In the shadows, kindness didn't save you. Strength did. Finally, she took the blade and slid it into the inside pocket of the jacket Alec handed her. "This is the craziest thing I've ever done," she muttered. "Not yet," Alec said. "Tomorrow night? That's when the real madness begins." Later that night, the quiet before the storm. As Lara lay awake in her bed once again, she stared at the ceiling, feeling the shape of the blade hidden in her jacket hanging on the chair across the room. For the first time, she realized something terrible. She wasn't scared of the mission anymore. She was scared of what she might become because of it. But if she was going to war, she was going to finish it properly. One dance had forced her into hell. Now she was about to dance her way back out of it, with blood, if necessary. The city of Lagos pulsed beneath them like a living beast, breathing, growling, restless. From the tinted windows of the black SUV, Lara watched the skyline blur past, her fingers clenched into fists on her lap. Tonight wasn't just a mission. It was war. "You remember everything?" Alec asked from the driver's seat. 3 exits. VIP section in the back. Cameras on the east and west corners. And the emergency signal phrase is, "Did I leave my shoes upstairs?" Good. The SUV stopped 2 blocks away from Club Genesis. Close enough for quick escape, far enough not to raise suspicion. Alec reached into the center console and pulled out a small earpiece. "This stays in your ear. No one will see it. I'll be listening the whole time. If something feels off, say the phrase and I come in." "And what if I don't make it to the phrase?" Lara whispered. His jaw tightened. "Then I burn this entire building to the ground." Silence. She slipped the earpiece in. This was real. More real than any lecture hall or scholarship test. More real than the hospital smells she grew up with. More real than the desperate ache of hunger she used to feel at night. This was life and death. She opened the door and stepped out into the Lagos night, wearing borrowed confidence like a cheap perfume. Time to become Vanessa Okoro. Welcome back to hell. The bouncer at the door barely looked at her. Fresh meat came every weekend, after all. "Name?" "Vanessa," she said, channeling a soft uncertainty in her voice, the kind predators liked. "Who brought you?" "Chuka said there were openings." The pause. Then a lazy smirk. "Chuka brings too many girls. Go inside." The bass hit her like a slap. Bites. Men in tailored clothes with masks sipping brandy. Girls in barely their dresses weaving between tables like butterflies in a slaughterhouse. It was just like she remembered. Worse even. "Eyes up," Alec's voice murmured softly in her ear. "No one knows you yet. Use that." Her throat was dry as she made her way to the far side of the club where auditions were usually held. But then she froze. At the corner table by the VIP curtain. Chief Okoye, the politician with the laugh that made skin crawl. His mask sat lopsided on his face like he didn't care who recognized him. Beside him, Chuka. The same man who'd forced her onto that stage the first time. Memories clawed at her throat, sharp and raw. "Lara, move," Alec whispered sharply. "Don't freeze." She blinked, focusing. "Vanessa," she corrected softly. "Here, I'm Vanessa." One of the security guards noticed her hesitation and stepped forward. Lara reacted instantly, fixing a shy smile on her lips, tilting her head like a curious kitten. "I'm here for the audition," she said sweetly. The security man gave a bored grunt and pointed her toward the back. She walked, step by step, closer to the devil's mouth. The recruitment room. Behind the curtains, the music dimmed just enough for her heartbeat to become deafening. 4 girls waited inside. 2 looked terrified. 1 looked dead in the eyes already. A tall woman wearing sharp heels and sharper eyeliner stood in front of them with a clipboard. "Name," she barked at Lara. "Vanessa Okoro." The woman checked something, then waved at her. "The dance number is later. Right now, you go through inspection." "Phones?" "I don't have one." The woman narrowed her eyes, but didn't question it further. Probably common for new girls from poor areas to have nothing. They handed out skimpy outfits. Lara stared at hers like it was a snake. "Put it on. You want the job, right?" "I don't want the job. I want to burn this place down." Still, she obeyed. When she emerged from behind the divider curtain, wearing the revealing outfit, Alec's voice was soft but sharp in her ear. You okay? No. Good. Stay angry. Anger keeps you sharp. The return to the stage. The music outside shifted. The tall woman barked, "Next batch. Let's go." The 4 girls, including Lara, were led through another set of black curtains, back to the same damn stage she'd been humiliated on before. The heat of the lights. The sweat-slicked air. The stink of cologne, cigar smoke, and money. And worse, the same faces in the crowd. Predators with empty eyes behind expensive masks. Except one. A new figure sat in the shadows of the back booth. A man with a gold-trimmed black mask, watching intently, motionless. Alec's voice cut into her ear again. Top left booth. You see him? I see him. New player. I don't like new players. Neither did she. The music rose. It was happening again. And she had to dance. But this time, she wasn't the prey. She was the trap. The strategy. She moved differently now. Not wild or desperate. Controlled. Purposeful. She wasn't here to seduce them. She was here to learn. 2 of the security guards carried identical wrist tattoos. One of the masked men wore a peculiar signet ring with the shape of a serpent wrapped around a dagger. Every detail burned into her memory. Eyes on the exits, Alec whispered. Good, Lara. Vanessa, she corrected with a whisper. Vanessa. She didn't miss the grin in his voice. The danger escalates. But then, something went wrong. From the corner of her eye, she saw Chuka leaning into Chief Okoye's ear. Both of them looked up at her simultaneously. Recognition. Lara, get out, Alec's voice barked sharply. Too late. You. Chuka bellowed, standing. I know you. The music stopped abruptly. Every masked head turned. Lara's blood turned to ice. But her feet felt rooted. And then, gun. Chuka pulled a gun. Panic erupted. Screaming. Chairs scraping. Bottles smashing. Alec's voice was now shouting, "Left exit. Left exit." She sprinted. Bullets ripped past her ears, shattering bottles, missing by inches. And then, crash, one of the security guards grabbed her by the hair, yanking her backward. Lara screamed and twisted, and remembered the knife. She slashed wildly, catching flesh. The man howled, clutching his forearm, blood spraying across the polished club floor. She broke through the curtain, stumbled, fell, no time, scrambled on her hands and knees, and suddenly hands grabbed her shoulders, lifting her. Got you, Alec snarled. We're leaving. The great escape. They barreled through the kitchen, knocking over crates of vegetables, cooks screaming behind them. A back door. Alleyway. Hot Lagos air. Gunfire echoed behind them. Alec's SUV screeched around the corner, tires smoking. He shoved Lara inside, climbed in behind her, and peeled off. More gunfire. Broken glass. Shouting. It blurred behind them. Ahead only the night, the city, the escape. Lara pressed her palm to her forehead, gasping for breath, tears and sweat mingling on her cheeks. But through the panic, she was smiling. Because she'd survived. The aftermath. Back at the penthouse, Lara sat on the pristine marble floor, shaking, her knees drawn up to her chest. Alec paced the room, his jaw clenched tight. He finally threw his keys across the room, shattering a decorative vase. I shouldn't have sent you in. I shouldn't. It worked, Lara croaked. Worked? You almost died. But I didn't. Silence. Then Alec stared at her like seeing her for the first time. Not as a victim. As a fighter. We have names now, she whispered. Tattoos. Rings. Faces. And one more thing, Alec said darkly, his voice low. She looked up. They know we're coming. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioner. Alec paced, his hand raking through his hair again and again. He wasn't the composed strategist now. He was a man who had almost lost someone. Lara sat on the edge of the sofa, numb. The adrenaline had burned itself out hours ago, leaving behind a hollow ache. Her thighs were scraped from falling in that filthy alleyway. Her palms bruised. And her ears still rang from the close call with Chuka's gun. But none of that mattered. What mattered was the realization echoing in her chest. They know who I am now. The safety of the shadows was gone. The anonymous girl forced to dance for strangers wasn't anonymous anymore. Why didn't you tell me you'd been seen before? Alec finally snapped, turning on her. Why didn't you warn me that they might recognize you? She met his glare. Because I didn't know if they would. I didn't know I'd be on stage again. You knew going back in was a risk. It was always going to be a risk, she shot back. You knew that too. Don't act like you didn't push for this. His jaw tightened. I pushed for intel. I didn't push for suicide. Lara stood now too, the heat of frustration rising in her chest. I'm not some fragile thing you have to protect, Alec. I'm the one they humiliated. I'm the one who... Her voice cracked before she could finish. Silence. And then Alec did something that shocked her. He sat down, elbows on his knees, and dropped his head into his hands. I should have burned that place to the ground the first night, he murmured. Lara swallowed the knot in her throat, sitting beside him. If you had, we wouldn't have the names we have now. The tattoos. The faces. Alec lifted his gaze. But now they'll come for you. Lara didn't flinch. Let them. The knock came 15 minutes later. Both of them were on their feet instantly. Stay here, Alec ordered quietly, reaching under his shirt for his weapon. But Lara wasn't listening. She moved beside him, not behind him. The knock came again. This time, followed by a voice. It's Jide. Alec hesitated. Lara frowned. Who's Jide? Contact of mine, Alec muttered. Ex-security detail for a senator. Trustworthy. Another pause. Alec stepped cautiously to the door, peeking through the peephole. It's him. He opened the door just enough for Jide to slip inside. The man was broad-shouldered, wearing a wrinkled dress shirt, his tie loose. Sweat beaded on his forehead. You're both screwed, Jide said without ceremony. They've put out a hit. The words hit like bricks falling from a rooftop. A hit. Alec repeated flatly. They're not waiting for the police. They don't want press. They want her dead and you along with her. And trust me, Chief Okoye doesn't miss when he wants something erased. Lara didn't blink. Let them come. Both men looked at her like she was insane. But something inside Lara had shifted. Fear was gone now. It had burned itself away. What was left was something harder, sharper. Rage. A hunger for justice. What about evidence? Alec asked, shifting his focus back to the immediate problem. Surveillance? Anything we can leak to the press? Jide shook his head. You think men like Chief Okoye operate where cameras can catch them? Everything gets destroyed. Phones are collected. Staff is silenced. Then we go to the girls, Lara said. The others. The ones like me. Alex stared at her. You think they'll talk? They will, she whispered. If they know someone else survived. It started with a single envelope. Alec dropped it on the table between them, accounts, and something else. Lara opened the envelope cautiously, splaying the photos across the thick, heavy. What's this? Lara asked, eyeing it like it might explode. Everything I could gather on Chief Okoye, his network, the offshore. Table. Faces. Men in expensive suits. Hands exchanging fat brown envelopes. Smiles like hyenas in the dark. And there, in the middle of them, she froze. It can't be. Alec, her voice was a whisper. Is that? Alec nodded grimly. Your father. Lara's stomach lurched. The man she hadn't seen since she was 8. The one who'd disappeared into Lagos with nothing but empty promises and a worn leather wallet. And now, smiling next to the same devils who'd forced her to dance, filmed her humiliation, put a price on her head. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She choked. Because I wasn't sure, Alex said softly. And I knew once you saw this. You thought I'd lose focus? She spat. You thought I'd fall apart? No, his voice was steel. I thought you'd burn the whole world down. The weight of betrayal pressed against her chest like a concrete slab. Every night of hunger, of silence, of scraping through life suddenly traced back to the man whose blood ran through her veins. You were right, she whispered. Alec reached across the table, his hand firm on hers. Then let's burn it down. Together. Lagos was different at night. It wasn't the usual chaos of honking cars or shouting bus conductors. This was the quiet before a storm, the kind that made even dogs stop barking. Lara stood by the window of the safe house, her arms crossed, watching the glow of streetlights flicker. Somewhere out there were men with guns, hunting her. And somewhere else, her father. Alec was at the table, laptop open, tracing wire transfers with the focus of a sniper. Numbers. Offshore accounts. A river of corruption too deep for one man to stop. Except Alec wasn't one man anymore. He was them. And Lara? She wasn't running anymore. A soft knock at the door made both of them flinch. Alec checked the peephole first, gun drawn. Then he opened the door. It was Zainab, one of the other girls from the club. The last time Lara had seen her, Zainab had mascara tears streaked down her cheeks, begging to go home. Now, her jaw was set with something harder than fear. "They know I helped you escape," Zainab said before anyone could ask. "They're coming for me next." Lara stepped forward. "Then help us take them down. Help me tell the story." Zainab hesitated, then reached into her bra and pulled out a flash drive. "What's that?" Alec asked, suspicious. Zainab smiled bitterly. "They're secrets. Videos they thought they deleted. I kept copies. For insurance." Lara's breath caught. "Why would you risk that?" Zainab's eyes burned. "Because I'm tired of being afraid." The video went live at 3 a.m. No press conference. No carefully crafted press release. Just raw footage dumped into the bloodstream of the internet like a spark in dry leaves. Lara sat frozen, watching as the images unfolded. Men in expensive suits, recognizable faces from national television, senators, commissioners, and her father, laughing, drink in hand, as girls barely older than 15 were dragged onto that cursed stage. Within minutes, the views skyrocketed. By sunrise, it wasn't just Lagos talking. It was the world. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag justice for the girls. Hashtag Okoye exposed. Hashtag who is the girl in the video. Phones buzzed endlessly. Journalists called. International human rights groups tweeted in outrage. Alec grinned for the first time in days. They won't be able to cover this up. But Lara wasn't smiling. This doesn't bring the girls back. Zainab stood by the doorway, shaking, watching her own nightmares unfold on screen for strangers to consume. Then came the retaliation. Explosions rocked 2 of Alec's safe houses that night. By the next afternoon, Lara's face was plastered on every news station, not as a victim, but as a wanted fugitive. "They're trying to flip the narrative," Alec growled, pacing. "Make you the villain." But something else flickered in Lara's eyes. "Let them," she said softly, "because I'm done hiding." She stood up, lifting her chin like a queen claiming her throne. "They wanted a villain. I'll give them one. But not the kind they expect." The courtroom was packed. Not with supporters, but vultures. Reporters. Photographers. Politicians hoping to be seen on the right side of history. Some came to witness justice. Others came to enjoy the spectacle of a girl defying an empire. Lara stood at the defendant's table, not accused, but testifying. Her hands trembled only slightly as she looked across at the rows of men who once controlled her fate. Some avoided her eyes. Others stared with naked hatred. And at the far end of the room, her father. He didn't look powerful anymore. His designer suit hung loose. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something pitiful and small. The judge banged the gavel. "Proceed." Lara's voice didn't shake. "I was forced to dance for men who thought they could buy my body, my soul. But I am not for sale. And neither are the girls whose faces you'll never see. The ones who didn't make it here." The room was silent. Alec stood in the back, arms crossed, pride shining through his usual cold expression. And then came the verdict. Guilty. Not just Chief Okoye, but senators, judges, business tycoons, the rot exposed, the empire crumbling. But freedom had a price. Lara walked out of that courtroom not to applause, but to death threats. To political enemies. to half the country divided between calling her a hero and branding her a liar. As the car door shut behind her, Alec leaned forward from the front seat. "You did it." Lara smiled, not with joy but with resolve. "No," she whispered. "I started it." And with that, she disappeared into the storm of a world that would never forget her name. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for newly created content.